Trafalgar Square, the heart of London, where thousands gathered, more in hope than expectation. And then this.
At the Games of the 30th Olympiad in 2012 are awarded to the city of London.
Thousands of ordinary people were swept up in one extraordinary moment.
Issue. Today we were running an exercise for a company, bearing in mind I'm now in the private sector, and we sat everybody down in the city, 1,000 people involved in the whole organisation, but the crisis team, and the most peculiar thing was we based our scenario on the simultaneous attacks on the Underground and mainline station. So we had to suddenly switch an exercise from fictional to real. And one of the first things is, get that bureau number, when you have a list of people missing, tell them. And so it took a long time.
Just to get this right, you were actually working today on an exercise that envisioned virtually this scenario.
Almost precisely. I was up until 2 o'clock this morning because it's our job, my own company, Visor Consultants. We specialise in helping people to get their crisis management response. How do you jump from slow time thinking to quick time doing? And we chose a scenario with their assistance which is based on a terrorist attack because they're very close to a property occupied by Jewish businessmen. They're in the city, and there are more American banks in the city than there are in the whole of New York. A logical thing to do. And I've still got the...
I was going to say, how extraordinary today must feel for you as it unfolds.
Hitler has often protested that his plans for conquest do not extend across the Atlantic Ocean, but his submarines and raiders prove otherwise. And so does the entire design of his new world order. For example, I have in my possession a secret map made in Germany by Hitler's government, by the planners of the New World Order.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Out of these troubled times, our fifth objective, a new world order, can emerge. Now we can see a new world coming into view. The Council on Foreign Relations, known as the CFR, an organization publicly sworn to destroy American national sovereignty and usher in a tyrannical world police state, could not contain their glee on September 12th, the day after the tragic attack. They announced their New World Order.
There is a chance for the President of the United States to use this disaster to carry out what his father, a phrase his father used, I think, only once, and hasn't been used since, and that is a new world order.
And after 1989, President Bush said, and it's a phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order.
When our founders declared a new order of the ages,
out of it came a new Europe, a new world order.
L'uomo moderno, adulto, eppure talora debole nel pensiero e nella volontà, lasciati prenda per mano dal bambino di Betlemme, non temere, fidati di lui. La forza vivificante della sua luce ti incoraggia ad impegnarti nell'edificazione di un nuovo ordine mondiale.
We know that we can begin to understand that the world order that globalization brings. I think a new world order is emerging, and people talk then in 1990 of a new world order and realizes what I believe is our destiny of success in this new world order.
2009 peut être l'année de naissance d'un nouveau capitalisme, d'un nouvel ordre mondial.
In creating the kind of world order that I think all of us would like to see.
Gotta be.
This is not a war of choice, it is a war of necessity. This is not a war of occupation, it's a war of obligation. On 9/11, when the Twin Towers were blown up, and so many British people died as well as Americans, almost every single person that took part in that attack was trained here in Afghanistan by Al-Qaeda. On 9/11, when the Twin Towers were blown up, on 9/11, when the Twin Towers were blown up.
When we are successful, and we will be,